It was a cold night in the city. The streets were quiet. The lamps glowed dimly and the sound of rain softly touched the windows of a small apartment. Inside, a young woman named Anna sat on a broken couch holding her crying baby in her arms. Her baby Liam was only 6 months old. His small hands moved restlessly and his tiny face turned red as he cried for milk. Anna tried to comfort him, whispering softly, "Shh, it's okay, baby, Mommy's here." But her voice trembled. She was tired, hungry, and scared. Her kitchen shelves were empty. No food, no baby formula, not even sugar or milk left in the fridge. The bills were unpaid and her landlord had already warned her about next month's rent. She looked at her phone lying on the table. The screen had cracks and the battery was almost dead, 5% remaining. Still, she picked it up, holding it like it was her last hope. Anna scrolled through her contacts, her fingers shaking. There was only one person she could think of, her friend Julia, who had helped her once before. But this time, Anna wasn't sure Julia could help again. She took a deep breath and typed, "Hey, Julia. I'm sorry to ask again, but I really need help. My baby has no milk and I don't have any money left. Please, can you help me buy baby formula? Just until next week. I promise I'll pay you back." Her eyes filled with tears as she looked at the message. She pressed send and whispered, "Please let it reach her." Then she waited. Minutes passed. No reply. She checked her phone again. The message had been delivered. But no typing sign appeared. She sighed, wiped her tears, and whispered, "Maybe she's asleep." She put the phone aside and rocked her baby gently, humming a lullaby even though her heart felt broken. But just as she was about to close her eyes, her phone vibrated. Her heart jumped. Maybe Julia had replied. She quickly picked up the phone and read the message. It said, "Who is this? Are you okay?" Anna frowned in confusion. "What? That's not Julia's number," she whispered. She opened the chat again. Her hands went cold. She had typed one wrong digit in the number. She had sent her desperate message to a complete stranger. She felt embarrassed and scared. "Oh no, what have I done?" She quickly typed back, "I'm sorry, wrong number." Then she put the phone down, her cheeks burning with shame. She didn't want to look at it again, but less than a minute later her phone buzzed again. The stranger had replied, "It's okay. You sound upset. Do you need help?" Anna froze. Who was this person? Why would they ask that? She hesitated. Maybe it was some scam, or maybe someone was playing a joke on her. But something about the message felt, and she didn't reply. She turned off the phone and sat silently, holding Liam close. He had stopped crying now, tired from the tears. Anna rocked him gently until he fell asleep, his small chest rising and falling softly against her shoulder. She looked at him, her whole world in her arms, and whispered, "I'll find a way, baby. I promise." Outside, the rain started falling harder. The sound filled the room, mixing with the quiet ticking of the clock. Hours passed. The night grew colder. Anna wrapped herself and Liam in a thin blanket and closed her eyes, but sleep didn't come easily. Her mind kept replaying the same thought, a wrong number. What if that person really meant to help? What if it wasn't a mistake at all? She opened her phone again, the battery now at 2%. She looked at the message one last time. "Do you need help?" Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Her heart said yes, but her pride said no. Finally, she typed a small reply. "It was a mistake. Please forget it. Thank you anyway." She pressed send, sighed deeply, and closed her phone again. Moments later, her phone buzzed one last time before the screen went black. The message said, "If you ever really need help, I can send something." No questions asked. Anna stared at it for a few seconds, unsure what to think. Then the phone died completely. She laid back on the couch, staring at the ceiling, her heart confused. "Who are you?" she whispered softly into the darkness. Outside, the city lights flickered through the rain. Somewhere far away, in a tall glass building on the other side of the city, a man named Ethan sat alone in his office. He was checking his phone when that same message arrived on his screen, a desperate plea from a stranger asking for help. He frowned, reading the words carefully. Something inside him, something he hadn't felt in years, stirred. "Baby formula," he murmured to himself. "Is this real?" He almost ignored it. He was used to people asking him for money, favors, or attention. But this message felt different. It didn't sound like a scam. It sounded like pain. He looked out the window at the city below, thousands of lights shining, millions of people living their stories. But one small message had found its way to him by accident. He stared at the screen again and whispered, "Maybe it wasn't an accident." Then he began typing. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" He sent the message, not knowing that this one small act would change two lives forever, his and the woman who texted him by mistake. The next morning, the city was waking up slowly. Cars moved through the wet streets and people hurried to work with coffee in hand. But in one quiet corner of the city, Ethan Grant sat in his large office, staring at his phone again. He had barely slept. That strange message from last night kept echoing in his mind. He had read it at least 10 times. "My baby has no milk, and I don't have any money left." Ethan was one of the richest men in the city, the owner of several companies, hotels, and charities. People respected him, even feared him at times. He had everything money could buy. But inside he felt empty. He had no family, no real friends. His parents had died long ago, and his fiancée had left him years back, saying he cared more about his work than her. Since then, Ethan lived in silence, meetings, flights, business dinners, and long, lonely nights in his penthouse apartment. But that one message had touched something inside him. He leaned back in his chair thinking, who was she? Was it really a mistake? Or maybe a sign, he murmured. Finally, he opened his phone and typed again. "If you don't want to talk, I understand. But I can help. You don't have to be afraid." He hesitated for a moment, then pressed send. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Anna was waking up too. The sun came through the small window of her tiny apartment, falling on her baby's face. Liam was smiling in his sleep, and Anna couldn't help but smile too, even though her heart was heavy. Her phone was dead, so she plugged it in. When it turned on, she saw 2 new messages, and both from that same number. Her stomach tightened. She didn't want to talk to strangers, but something about his words felt gentle, not rude, not pushy, just kind. Still, she was scared. She typed back slowly, "You don't have to help me." It was a wrong message. "I'm sorry for the trouble." Ethan saw the reply a few minutes later. A small smile crossed his face. "She replied," he whispered to himself. He typed back quickly, "It's not trouble. I was just worried. You sound like you're going through something. I've seen many people struggle in my life. Sometimes talking helps." Anna read the message again and again. Talking helps. But what would she say? That she had no money? No job, no family? That she was a mother fighting every single day to feed her child? She didn't want anyone's pity, so she put the phone aside. But inside she felt something warm, a small feeling of being noticed. Hours passed. Anna tried to go out and find work. She walked from shop to shop asking if anyone needed a cleaner or cashier. Every answer was the same. "Sorry, not hiring right now." By evening, she was exhausted. She came home holding her sleeping baby in one arm and looked at her phone again. There was another message. "I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. I just want you to know. Sometimes help comes from unexpected places." She sighed softly. "Unexpected places," she repeated to herself. Her baby stirred in her arms. Anna sat down on the couch thinking. Maybe she could at least thank the person properly. She typed slowly, "Thank you for your kindness." "I'm fine. Just having a rough time," Ethan replied almost instantly. "Rough times don't last forever." "What's your name?" Anna hesitated. She didn't want to reveal too much, but somehow she trusted him. "Anna," she wrote. "And you?" "Alex," he replied quickly. He didn't want to use his real name yet. "Alex," she whispered. "A stranger who cares." The conversation went quiet for a few minutes. Then Ethan sent another message. "Can I ask something? Do you have someone to help you, a family, friends?" Anna looked at her baby sleeping peacefully beside her. Her eyes filled with tears. "No, it's just me and my baby." Ethan's heart sank when he read that. He couldn't imagine someone so alone. He wanted to ask more, but didn't want to scare her away. He wrote, "You're very brave, Anna. It takes strength to fight alone." Anna smiled weakly at her screen. No one had said something kind to her in a long time. That night, after feeding Liam the last bit of milk she had left, Anna sat by the window. She looked at the lights outside and whispered, "Maybe he's right. Maybe things will change." Meanwhile, Ethan sat in his penthouse staring at the same city skyline. He was thinking about the woman he had never met, the woman who had texted him by mistake. He didn't know why, but her pain felt personal, almost familiar. Maybe because he too had everything yet felt like he had nothing. He opened the chat again and typed one more message before sleeping. "If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. Don't lose hope, Anna." He stared at the message for a few seconds, then placed his phone on the table. Before turning off the light, he whispered softly, maybe it wasn't the wrong number after all. And in her small apartment, Anna's phone lit up once more in the dark. She looked at the message and smiled through her tears. For the first time in months, she didn't feel completely alone. The next few days passed slowly for Anna. Each morning felt the same. She woke up to her baby's soft cries, looked around her small apartment and wondered how she would survive one more day. But something new had entered her life. Alex's messages. Every evening, when the baby slept, she would sit near the window and text him. He never asked too many questions. He never judged her. He just listened. "How was your day? Did your baby smile today? Are you taking care of yourself too?" Simple questions, but they made Anna feel human again. Someone cared. Someone wanted to know about her life. She still didn't know who Alex really was. His words were always polite, calm, and kind. She imagined him as a middle-aged man, maybe a teacher or someone working in an office. She never imagined he was a billionaire. One night, after putting Liam to sleep, Anna sat on the couch feeling lonely. Her phone buzzed again. "Alex, how are you holding up tonight?" She typed back, "Anna. Tired. I walked for hours today looking for work. But no one wants to hire a woman with a baby." There was a pause before his reply came. "Alex, that's not fair. You're trying your best. Don't lose hope." Anna stared at the screen for a moment, then typed slowly, "Sometimes hope doesn't feed you or your baby." Ethan sat silently after reading that message. Those words hit deep. He looked around his office. A room full of expensive furniture, glowing screens, and a city view that many people dreamed of. But for the first time, he felt ashamed of how much he had, and how little he had done for others. He typed back carefully, "You're right. But sometimes help comes when you least expect it." Anna smiled softly. "Maybe," she whispered. Then, almost without realizing it, she started telling him everything, her whole story. She told him how she used to work as a nurse's assistant before her husband left her. How her husband promised to come back one day but never did. How she lost her job after missing too many shifts to take care of her sick baby. She told him about the nights when she had to choose between buying diapers or food. About the neighbors who whispered that she was a failure. And through it all, Ethan, listened. Every word, every tear behind the text. He wanted to tell her who he really was, to say, "I can fix this. I can change your life right now." But he didn't. He knew she wouldn't accept help from a rich stranger, so he decided to help her quietly. The next morning, Anna woke up to a knock on her door. She opened it carefully, expecting maybe the landlord again, but it was a delivery man. "Delivery for Miss Anna," he said, handing her a box. I didn't order anything," she replied. "It's already paid for," the man said with a smile and left. Anna looked at the box. It was heavy. She opened it slowly and froze. Inside were baby formula tins, diapers, a small pack of groceries, and even a soft blanket with little stars printed on it. Tears filled her eyes. She picked up the note inside. It said, "Every baby deserves to smile. Take care of yourself, Anna. Alex." Her hands trembled as she read it again and again. She sat on the floor, hugging the blanket, and cried softly. That night she texted him, "You didn't have to do that." "I can't accept this," he replied quickly. "You didn't ask for it." "I wanted to." "No one should watch their child cry from hunger." Anna smiled through her tears. She didn't know what to say. She typed, "Thank you, Alex. I don't know how to repay you." "Just promise me one thing," he replied. "When you're strong again, help someone else. That will be enough." Those words touched her heart. From that day, their conversations became a routine. Every night they talked, about dreams, about life, about little moments of hope. Anna told him how she used to love singing, but stopped after her life fell apart. Ethan told her, without saying he was rich, about losing people he loved, about feeling lonely in a world full of people. Two strangers, connected by pain, slowly becoming each other's strength. One evening, Anna sent him a picture, a blurry photo of baby Liam smiling, holding the new blanket. "He loves the blanket," she wrote. "Thank you for making him smile again." Ethan looked at the picture and felt something warm in his chest, a feeling he hadn't felt in years. He smiled and whispered to himself, maybe this is what real happiness feels like. But deep down, he also knew something else. If she ever found out who he really was, Ethan Grant, billionaire CEO, she might never talk to him again. So, he promised himself that he would help her quietly, from the shadows, without revealing the truth. He typed one last message for the night. "Anna, one day everything will change for you. Just keep believing. You're stronger than you think." Anna smiled as she read it, looking at her baby. For the first time in a long time, she whispered softly, "Maybe, he's right." Days passed quietly, and the bond between Anna and Alex grew stronger. Every night they talked, not just about pain, but about hope too. Sometimes Anna would tell him about her baby's first laugh of the day. Sometimes Alex would share kind thoughts about life. For Anna, he became a light in her dark days. And for Ethan, she became the only person who spoke to him like a normal human being. Not like a rich man, not like a CEO, just a person. But even as they grew close, Ethan knew he had to keep his real identity hidden. If she found out who he really was, she might stop talking to him. One cold morning, Ethan sat at his desk, scrolling through his phone. There was a message from Anna. "Anna, I finally got a small part-time job. It's not much, but it's something. Thank you for believing in me." He smiled. His heart warmed as he read those words. "Alex, I told you, you're stronger than you think. I'm proud of you." Anna replied with a small heart emoji. That one tiny symbol made Ethan smile wider than any business deal ever had. Still, he couldn't stop thinking about her struggles. The apartment she lived in was old and unsafe. The food she ate was barely enough. He wanted to help more, but how could he do it without her finding out? He called one of his assistants secretly. "Find the address of this delivery order," he said. "The woman's name is Anna. Don't contact her. Just send some essentials there. Baby items, food, and maybe a warm coat for the winter. Make sure it looks like it's from a community aid center." His assistant hesitated. "A charity delivery, sir?" "Yes," Ethan said softly. "No names. Just kindness." Later that evening, Anna was cleaning her small kitchen when she heard another knock. She opened the door. Another delivery man stood there with a box. "Free community support package, ma'am," he said with a smile. "You've been selected for aid this month." Anna blinked in surprise. "Aid, really?" "Yes, ma'am. Just sign here." She signed the paper, still unsure what was happening. When she opened the box inside, her heart almost stopped. Inside were new baby clothes, soft blankets, groceries, and even a small envelope with a note. She opened it with shaking hands. It said, "For you and your little one. Keep believing, good days are coming. No name, no sender." Anna sat on the floor, tears filling her eyes again. "How can this be?" she whispered. "Who's doing this for me?" Her heart told her it was Alex, but her mind said it couldn't be. He said he was just a normal man, not someone who could send boxes like this. That night, she texted him, "Anna." "Alex, something strange happened today." "Alex, what do you mean?" "Anna, someone sent me food and clothes again. It says it's from a community center, but I never signed up for anything." Ethan looked at the message and smiled softly. He hesitated before replying. "Alex, that's wonderful, Anna. Maybe someone out there noticed your kindness." Anna stared at his reply for a long time. Something inside her felt suspicious. His words sounded too calm, too knowing. "Anna, you don't know anything about it, right?" Ethan paused. His heart raced. He wanted to tell her the truth, but he knew she'd refuse everything if she found out. He typed back, "No, Anna, but I believe you deserve every bit of good that comes your way." Anna read the message and sighed. She didn't fully believe him, but she didn't want to argue either. Later that night, as she watched her baby sleeping peacefully under a new blanket, she whispered, "Maybe angels do exist." On the other side of the city, Ethan looked out from his glass window at the lights below. He felt peace for the first time in years. It wasn't about money anymore. It wasn't about success. It was about doing something good without being seen. The next few days, Anna and Alex talked more. Their chats became longer, softer. Sometimes they talked about childhood memories. Sometimes they joked about silly things, like how Anna burned her first pancake or how Alex once failed to cook rice properly. For a moment, life didn't feel so heavy, but deep inside, Anna still had one question. Who are you really, Alex? One evening, as they were texting, she suddenly asked Anna, "Can I ask something personal?" Alex, "Of course." Anna, "You always sound so kind and calm. What do you do for a living?" Ethan froze. His fingers stopped moving. He knew this question would come one day. He typed slowly, "I run a small company. It's nothing big. I just help manage things." Anna smiled at her screen. That makes sense, she thought. He sounds like someone who helps others. But in her heart, she still felt something was hidden, something he wasn't telling her. Before sleeping that night, she looked at her baby and whispered, "He's different. Liam, there's something special about him. I just don't know what." And far away, Ethan lay awake too, staring at the ceiling, whispering softly, "She's different. She makes me feel alive again." Neither of them knew that fate had already started writing the next chapter. Chapter where their two worlds would finally meet. The winter wind blew hard outside Anna's apartment that night. The small window rattled and the room felt colder than usual. Anna wrapped baby Liam in a blanket and sat near the heater, holding her phone tightly in her hand. It had become a habit now, talking to Alex before going to bed. His messages were like a light in her dark world, a voice that made her believe she wasn't completely alone. That night, she texted him first. "Anna, hey Alex, Liam laughed for the first time today." He kept laughing at the spoon I dropped. It was the best sound ever. A minute later, her phone vibrated. "Alex, that's beautiful. Babies find joy in the smallest things. Maybe they remind us to smile again." Anna smiled softly. "You always know what to say," she typed. Alex, "Maybe because I needed someone to talk to, too." Anna, "You? You seem so calm and strong all the time." Alex, "Not always, Anna. Sometimes strength is just silence. Sometimes it's pretending you're fine when you're not." Those words touched Anna deeply. She could feel the pain behind them. She wrote, "Anna, you sound like someone who's been hurt too." Ethan stared at her message for a moment. He took a deep breath and replied honestly, "Alex, I lost people I loved. I had money, success, everything. But it never filled the emptiness. Talking to you feels real." Anna's eyes softened. She replied, "Anna, you helped me when I had no one. Maybe we both needed someone real." The chat went quiet after that. Both sat staring at their phones. Two lonely souls, miles apart, yet feeling strangely close. Days passed and their conversations grew longer. Anna told him about her dreams, how she wanted to finish her nursing degree someday and work in a hospital. Alex, "You'll get there, Anna. You have a kind heart, and that's more powerful than any degree." Anna, "You really think so?" Alex, "I know so." Anna smiled at her screen. She didn't know why, but she started feeling something new, something she didn't want to name. It wasn't just friendship anymore. It was something softer, deeper, and on the other side of the city, Ethan felt the same. He would wait for her messages every evening. He would check his phone during meetings, secretly smiling when her name appeared. For the first time in years, he was happy, not because of money or power, but because of a woman who didn't even know who he really was. One evening, Anna wrote, "Anna, you know, sometimes I imagine meeting you one day, just to thank you in person." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. "Alex, that would be nice. Maybe someday." But deep down, he knew it wasn't that simple. If she met him, she would know the truth. She would see his face in newspapers and billboards and business magazines. She would find out that her friend Alex was Ethan Grant, the billionaire CEO everyone talked about. So he replied carefully, "Maybe one day, when the time is right." That night, the wind grew stronger. The power in Anna's building went out, and the room fell into darkness. She lit a small candle and held Liam close. "It's okay, baby. Mommy's here," she whispered. Her phone buzzed again. "Alex, are you okay?" You didn't reply for a while. Anna, "Power's out. It's really cold. I'm trying to keep Liam warm." Ethan's hands tightened around his phone. He wanted to drive there to make sure she was safe, but he couldn't, not without revealing everything. He typed, "Alex, do you have enough blankets?" "Anna, just one, but we'll be fine." "You've already done so much for us." Ethan closed his eyes for a second. Then he called his assistant again. "Send a small heater to that address tonight. Don't say it's from me. Say it's a neighborhood safety donation." Anna was shocked when another package arrived later that night, a small portable heater and some food supplies. She texted Alex immediately. "Anna." "Alex." Another box came. "From some donation group again. You wouldn't know anything about that, right?" Ethan smiled sadly. "Alex. That's wonderful, Anna. Maybe luck has finally found you." Anna looked at her screen for a long moment, then typed, "You always say the right things?" "Alex, maybe you're my luck." Ethan's chest tightened. He wanted to tell her everything. His real name, his world, his truth. But he stopped himself. He replied simply, "Maybe you're mine too." But just as their hearts began to find peace, something changed. The next morning, Anna didn't reply. Ethan thought maybe she was busy with her job. But by night, there was still no message. He sent another text. "Anna, are you okay?" No answer. The next day came. Still nothing. He called the number, but it said, "The number you are trying to reach is not available." A cold wave of worry ran through him. What if something happened? He tried again and again. No response. For the first time in months, Ethan felt helpless. The woman who had accidentally walked into his life had now disappeared, without a word, without a goodbye. He sat in his office late that night, staring at her last message on his screen. "Maybe you're my luck." He whispered softly to himself, "Anna, where did you go?" That night, the city lights outside his window seemed dimmer. And far away in another part of the city, Anna sat in a shelter, her phone broken, her face pale, holding her baby close. Life had thrown her another challenge, but neither she nor Ethan knew that this distance, this silence, was only the beginning of something much bigger. Ethan couldn't sleep that night. The city lights outside his window blurred as rain fell against the glass. But all he could think about was Anna. For months, she had been a part of his life, her messages, her smile, her hope in the middle of pain. And now she was gone. He tried calling her number again. Still nothing. Number not available. He stared at the phone, his chest tight with worry. "Why did you stop replying, Anna?" he whispered. The next morning, Ethan walked into his office, but his mind wasn't on work. His assistant Daniel noticed immediately. "Sir, you don't look well. Everything all right?" Ethan hesitated. He couldn't tell Daniel everything, and not yet. But he said quietly, "I need you to find someone for me." Daniel frowned. "A business contact?" Ethan shook his head. "No, a woman. Her name is Anna. She's a single mother. I only have her phone number and address." Daniel didn't ask questions. He had worked for Ethan long enough to know when something was serious. "I'll check right away," he said. Hours passed. Ethan sat in silence, pretending to read reports, but his thoughts were far away. He remembered Anna's laughter when she told him about her baby's first steps. He remembered how she thanked him for every little thing. He couldn't lose her. Not like this. By evening, Daniel returned, holding a file. "Sir, I found something." Ethan stood up immediately. "Tell me," Daniel sighed. Her apartment building caught fire 2 nights ago. It wasn't big, but some tenants had to move out because of smoke damage. No one was seriously hurt, but most of them left. "She's not there anymore." Ethan's heart dropped. Did she have somewhere to go?" Daniel shook his head. Neighbors said she might have gone to a community shelter nearby, but they weren't sure. Ethan didn't wait another second. "Get the car," he ordered. The rain poured heavily as Ethan's black car moved through the narrow streets of the poorer part of the city. Neon lights reflected off the wet pavement. He had never been in this area before. Everything looked broken, forgotten, like another world. The car stopped near a small red brick building with a fading sign. "Hope Shelter for Women and Children." Ethan stepped out, pulling his coat tighter around him. The cold hit his face, but he didn't care. Inside, a kind-looking woman greeted him. "Can I help you, sir?" "I'm looking for someone," Ethan said quickly. "Her name is Anna. She has a baby boy, or about 6 months old. The woman frowned thoughtfully. Anna? Yes, I think we have someone by that name. Wait here, please. Ethan's heart started racing. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the woman returned, but she looked worried. She's here, but she's been unwell. The baby's fine, but she caught a fever after the fire. We were about to take her to the clinic tomorrow. Ethan felt a heavy weight lift and fall at the same time. She's here, he whispered. Thank God. Would you like to see her? The woman asked gently. He nodded. Ethan walked down a narrow hallway, the floor creaking beneath his shoes. The smell of old wood and medicine filled the air. At the end of the hall, through a half-open door, he saw her. Anna lay on a small cot, her face pale, her eyes closed. Her baby slept beside her, holding her finger. For a long moment, Ethan just stood there watching them. The sight broke him and warmed him all at once. He walked in quietly and knelt beside her bed. Anna, he whispered softly. Her eyes fluttered open slowly. She looked weak, confused. Alex, she murmured. Her voice was soft, barely there, but it hit Ethan's heart like a wave. He smiled faintly. Yeah, it's me. Tears filled her eyes. You came. Ethan reached out and gently took her hand. Of course I came. I was so worried. You just disappeared. Anna blinked slowly. My phone broke. After the fire, I lost everything again. Ethan squeezed her hand tighter. You didn't lose everything. You still have me. Her lips trembled. You've already done so much, Alex. You don't have to. Don't say that, he interrupted softly. I want to help. Not because I have to, but because I care. For a moment, silence filled the small room. Only the sound of rain outside could be heard, Anna whispered. Why do you care so much? You barely know me. Ethan looked at her, really looked at her. Her tired face, her strength, her kindness. He wanted to tell her everything, who he really was, what he really felt. But he stopped himself again. Instead, he said quietly, sometimes we meet someone who changes our life, even if we never planned it. Anna smiled weakly. You talk like a poet, Alex. Ethan chuckled softly. Maybe it's just you who brings that out in me. Hours passed. Ethan stayed by her side, making sure she had food, medicine, and warm blankets. The shelter worker thanked him, but he said nothing about who he really was. Before leaving, he turned back and looked at Anna one more time. She was asleep, holding Liam close. He whispered under his breath, I won't lose you again. The next morning, he made a decision. He called Daniel. Buy her a small apartment. Safe, warm, near a clinic. I'll handle the rest. Daniel was surprised. Under whose name, sir? Ethan looked out the window, a small smile on his face. Make it from a friend. She doesn't need to know yet. That night, Anna woke up to find a letter beside her bed. It read, You are not alone. You and your baby deserve a better life. A new home is waiting for you. Take this key. It's yours. A friend. Her eyes filled with tears as she held the small golden key in her trembling hands. She whispered, Alex, was that you? But her phone still lay broken beside her, and she couldn't ask. She looked up, whispering softly, Whoever you are, thank you. A week passed since Anna left the shelter. The new apartment she had moved into was small but warm. The walls freshly painted, a clean kitchen, a soft couch, and a crib for baby Liam. She didn't know who sent the letter. She only knew that someone out there cared enough to change her life again. Every night, she sat by the window, holding the golden key in her hand, wondering if it was Alex, but she couldn't ask him. Her phone was still broken, and she hadn't been able to buy a new one. Sometimes she whispered softly to herself, Alex, if it was you, I hope you're okay. Meanwhile, miles away, Ethan sat in his office, staring at a new message draft on his phone. He typed a few words, then deleted them. He wanted to tell her everything. That Alex, the kind stranger, was actually Ethan Grant, one of the richest men in the city. The man she'd once accidentally texted asking for baby formula money. He had fallen in love with her honesty, her strength, her simplicity. And now he couldn't imagine his life without her. But he also feared something. What if she hated him for lying? What if she thought everything he did was just charity from a billionaire? Ethan took a deep breath. No more secrets, he whispered. The next morning he made a plan. He asked Daniel to arrange a meeting under a simple reason. A donation visit to the same shelter Anna once stayed in. Daniel smiled knowingly. So, Are you finally going to tell her, sir? Ethan nodded. It's time. Later that afternoon, Anna received a call from the shelter manager. Anna, can you come by today? Someone important is visiting and a man who supported the shelter. Anna hesitated. Me? But I don't really know anyone like that. The woman laughed kindly. He requested to meet some of the mothers who stayed here. Don't worry, he's very kind, Anna smiled. All right, I'll come. She dressed simply, a plain blue sweater, jeans, and her hair tied back neatly. She carried Liam in her arms and walked back to the place that had once been her home in the storm. When she entered, the first thing she saw was a tall man in a dark coat, speaking politely to the staff. His voice sounded familiar, warm, steady. As he turned around, Anna froze. Her eyes widened. Alex, she whispered. Ethan's heart stopped for a moment. Then he smiled softly. Hi, Anna. She looked confused. But, you're... He stepped closer. My real name is Ethan Grant. Anna blinked, shocked. The billionaire? The one from the news? He nodded slowly. Yes, I'm sorry, Anna. I never meant to lie. When you texted me that first night asking for help, I wanted to see life outside my world. I wanted to help, not as a rich man, but as a human being. So I used my middle name, Alex. Anna stood silent for a long moment, her heart pounding. So all those gifts, the food, the heater, this apartment, all from you? Ethan nodded again, his voice low. Yes, but it wasn't about money. It was about you. You changed me, Anna. You made me feel alive again. Anna's eyes filled with tears. But why didn't you tell me the truth earlier? Because I was afraid, he said softly. Afraid that if you knew who I was, you'd see only the money, not the man. She looked down, her emotions storming inside. You think I care about money? He quickly shook his head. No, that's not what I meant, she interrupted gently. Alex, Ethan, whoever you are, I saw your heart long before I knew your name. Ethan froze. She continued, tears rolling down her cheeks. You were there when I had no one. You talked to me when the world was silent. You helped me not because I was poor but because you cared. Ethan took a slow step forward. So you forgive me? Anna looked at him, at the man who had changed her life in ways she could never imagine, and smiled softly. Yes, I forgive you. For the first time, Ethan let out a deep breath. The weight he had carried for months finally lifted. He smiled, his eyes warm and honest. I want to be a part of your life, Anna, he said, not just as someone who helped you, but as someone who wants to walk beside you. You and Liam, you both changed my heart. Anna's voice trembled. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Ethan whispered. Say yes to a better life and together. She looked at her baby, then back at him. Liam giggled in her arms, reaching toward Ethan's face. Anna smiled through her tears. Maybe Liam already said yes. Ethan laughed softly, his eyes shining. Then I'll take that as my answer. A few months later, the city was blooming with spring. Anna and Liam moved into a beautiful home. Not a mansion, but a warm, cozy house surrounded by gardens that smelled of roses. Ethan visited every day. He never treated her like someone he needed to save. Instead, he treated her like someone he was lucky to have found. One evening, as the sun set in golden light, Ethan stood beside her on the porch. You know, he said, when you sent that message by mistake, I thought it was just another wrong number. I didn't know it would change everything. Anna smiled softly. Maybe some mistakes are meant to happen. He reached for her hand. Then I'm glad you made that one. Anna laughed, her heart finally at peace. Me too. As the camera of life pulled back, the picture was clear. A once struggling mother, her smiling baby, and a man who finally found love beyond his wealth. Their story began with a wrong number, but it ended with the